Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. Well, here we are. We find each other at the end of February. It is not a leap year, which means, okay, what day is it today? When you're hearing this, it's the 26th. Okay, tell me how, if, why this makes sense. Today's the 26th, in theory. I'll let you in on a little secret. It's actually the 25th. So anyway, it's already been 2 months since Christmas. What the heck? That makes absolutely no sense to me. I don't subscribe to that particular calendar, that newsletter. I don't know what sorcery is happening to make time literally evaporate. Evaporated milk time. You know what I never understood? We'll get back to the time in a second. Basically, this podcast could be called Things I Don't Understand. But, what the hell is the difference between evaporated milk and condensed milk? Now, I like this. I don't know what either tastes like. I can't tell you. I like the sound of evaporated milk better because I like to picture the factory that they make it. Because evaporated means like, you know? So I feel like the factory of evaporated milk making is just like a big pond of milk. And then it's like you can see it sort of like boiling and then like evaporating. And it's like, poof, poof, poof. So really, evaporated milk should be cheaper because like they've taken milk, which I think I say milk, like M-E-L-K, but I think you're supposed to say milk. But regardless, I don't care. I just wanted to point that out. Like, I do know I'm saying it wrong. I'm not going to change. Do you know what? I believe in growth, evolution, and change, and evaporation. But for my pronunciation of the word milk, I'm just going to let myself be imperfect. We're embracing imperfection here on a non-leap year. Okay, I started about 4 different thoughts. Evaporated milk factory. It should be cheaper than condensed milk. No, because condensed, you've taken milk and I'm assuming you've added stuff. Whereas evaporated, you've taken milk and then taken stuff away. So let's go into Google and find out the difference between evaporated milk and condensed milk. Aren't you so glad that you clicked play on this podcast today? Like, what a gift I'm giving you. Okay, this is from AI. Evaporated and condensed milk are both canned, shelf-stable, and concentrated by removing about 60% of their water content. The key difference is that condensed milk has high amounts of added sugar, so that's the good one, making it thick and sweet for desserts. While evaporated milk is unsweetened condensed milk. What? Well, okay, listen. Everyone keeps talking about the robots are taking over, they're going to take everything, and I, for the most part, agree. But then stuff like this happens, and it can't even get basic sentence structure, and I'm like, do you know what? Maybe we're actually fine. Let me read this sentence again. The key difference is that condensed milk has high amounts of added sugar. Excuse me, I don't know why I keep yawning. Making it thick and sweet for desserts, while evaporated milk is unsweetened. Condensed milk has high amounts of added sugar, making it thick and sweet for desserts. You're repeating yourself. Yeah, see, AI messed up. It happens, guys. Evaporated milk, the taste unsweetened, light caramel flavor, thin, creamy, pourable. Its usage is in creamy soups, sauces, casseroles, coffee, or as a lighter cream substitute. Sugar content, none added. Condensed milk. Is there a difference between condensed milk and sweetened condensed milk? Taste, very sweet and thick. Syrupy. Texture, thick, gloopy, syrup-like. Usage, desserts like pies, cakes, fudge, and coffee. Sugar content, approximately 45% sugar. Again, we know which one we should be reaching for. Interchangeability. generally not interchangeable due to the intense sugar content in condensed milk. Okay, so from my understanding, they're both condensed, okay? And then, no, you take 60% of the water out. So they're both evaporated. And then milk is then recondensed with sugar for condensed milk, and then nothing happens to evaporated milk. I don't know. Listen, I've spent 6 minutes on this. We have to move on. But I do encourage everybody to listen and learn and do your own research on the difference between condensed milk and evaporated milk. Maybe there's a Mythbusters on it. There could be. Anyway, yes, I don't understand how it is already February and March is coming up. Things I appreciate about what the next week looks like. March 1st is a Sunday. How fun is that? I love looking at the calendar. Actually, do you know what? I say negative things about February a lot, but if everyone takes out their calendar app, if you look at the February calendar, it's actually the most visually appealing calendar I've seen in a while, because it is 4 weeks, 4 full straight lines, starts February 1st on a Sunday, ends February 28th on a Saturday. Perfect. And then it does such a good job at being a month that it sets up March to start on a Sunday as well. Now, what makes no sense to me is, as you're listening to this, it's the 27th. That would mean tomorrow is the 28th. And that would mean the following day is that means tomorrow is the 27th, the following day is the 28th, and then February's over. What happened to the 29th, what happened to the 30th, and what happened to the 31st? Now, I understand some months, like sometimes we're doing a 30th, sometimes we're doing a 31st. And by understand, I mean I am aware that happens. I can't say that I understand why it happens or why it needs to happen. I think it's something to do with like the balance of the solar system. Who knows? Now, where March drops the ball is it has 31 days. So it does not end on a Saturday. It ends on a Tuesday, which means it does a terrible job at setting up April, because April 1st is a Wednesday. Now, why that is acceptable is because April 1st is also April Fool's Day, and a month starting in the smack dab middle of the week sounds like a joke to me. So they all got us. I don't know who they is, but they did it. Okay, anyway, so we circled back on condensed milk, we've circled back on February. Have we talked about the weather yet? The weather's been weird. We've been like half hot, half cold. Yesterday, it was this fun thing where I had to scrape my windshield in the morning, which, here's the thing, I do believe that teaches you discipline and like makes you a tougher person. But I feel like I have benefited from the discipline and the tougher personness that has done, to the point where I no longer have to do it. So if the weather people could stop making it so that I have to scrape my windshield in the morning, that would be great. I feel like I've learned my lesson on that. Like, can I get credit for time served? Is there like a program I can enroll into? I haven't enrolled in a program in a while. I had the weirdest thought the other day. If you go back, I was never in school while doing this podcast, but when I started, I think I had just graduated. So I might have discussed before how there's nothing worse on the planet than writing an essay. I think that is the one thing everybody can come together and agree on, that writing essays is the worst. And I still agree with that statement. So tell me why I was sitting down the other day and thought, you know what? Maybe I could go for writing an essay. Like, what? Am I okay? I don't think I'm okay. Why would I think that? Why would I say that? I hated it. I complained about it for years. And now that I don't have to do it, I want to? Although that's kind of classic me, though. I'm sure you could not scroll back, but you could listen back to all these episodes and I'm like complaining about something and then saying I love it and then saying, oh, I hate this, and then saying, well, maybe it's not too bad. I'm a mess. I really need to play these episodes for a therapist or something. Actually, that's a really good way to like, I mean, you should always make time for your mental health, but like if you don't have time to go to a therapist, record a podcast weekly, 15 minutes a day or a week into your iPhone when you're just like sitting in traffic, and then play it for a therapist and be like, so what do you think? I'm just going to email this file, or do you know what? I could just email the link. Then maybe I'll get some extra listens. That's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to send this to like 5 different therapists and be like, just thoughts, ? And then best case scenario, I get some, helpful advice and tips. Worst case scenario, I get 5 free streams. So there's that. Life hack. I did something very fancy today. I did not buy a coffee, I made one. And by I made one, I mean I put one of those little pod things in that pod machine and clicked start. I might have even had to fill up the water reservoir thing. Reservoir. Is that a French word? I love how there are some words in the English language that we just decided to keep French. Like, reservoir is not an English word, I don't think, but like we say it. Or when people say in lieu, like in place of, like, is that in the English dictionary, or is that just like a French word that we've adopted? Like, does Merriam, first of all, who is Merriam-Webster? That's the next thing I want to ask AI. But does Merriam-Webster recognize lieu as a French word, or as an English word, or as both? And like, are the dictionaries of other countries and other languages also Merriam-Webster? Is it like Merriam-Webster for French? That was a terrible French accent. Let me Google. Merriam-Webster. Excuse me. Okay. You know what? It's probably some like, it's like, I think, okay, this is how the world works, right? I think Merriam-Webster is this like entrepreneurial, groundbreaking, female figure of history. Watch, it's just like 2 white guys' last names. Watch. I guarantee you. Merriam-Webster Incorporated is the Orange Dictionary. In 1831, George and Charles Merriam founded the company as G&C Merriam Co. In 1843, after Noah Webster died, the company bought the right. Yeah, okay. Typical. The world is very predictable. Anyway, what else is going on? The Olympics. I know we don't always talk about current events. The Olympics just ended. I was seeing, I'm just going to say it wasn't a great showing from what I saw. And it was like a lot of the same stuff. It was a lot of like skates. Like I would say, like I didn't see any like bare feet. Not that I wanted to, although I know some people are into that. But like I didn't see, there were no shoes at the Olympics. It was all like, I mean, I guess curling was the closest. Who invented curling? Merriam-Webster? Like, I don't understand. Like, why do you need to be on... Isn't it just shuffleboard? Like, what does the ice do? Also, curling is kind of ruthless. Like, I didn't realize you can, like, mess with the other people's... Is it called the rock? I have played curling a couple times. Do you play curling or do you just curl? I don't know how to say it. But I have curled a few times. That sounded right. But also wrong for some reason. And I didn't realize that, like, not only can you use those little brooms to make your stuff go faster, but you can also use those little brooms for evil and try and get other people's... Is it called a rock? Away from the circle thing. But yeah, it was a lot of skating. It was a lot of... I mean, hockey, rip, Canada lost. That was a tough one. I did, in fact, wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning on a weekend just to watch my country lose. Feel bad for me. But yeah, I think they should provide some context at the Olympics. And I've definitely seen this take before, so I'm not taking full credit. But I did have this original thought. Like, I thought this, but then I saw other people say it. They really should have... Do you know, like, when you're doing a workout video? Which I don't know if people still do those. But do you know how they'll have that person in the back doing, like, the modified version? That was always who I was following. But I think for the Olympics, they should have, like, even AI. I think this is perfect use for AI. Have, like, an AI human robot thing as the same time as the Olympic athletes are, doing their sports. Have an AI person who's, like, generated to be, like, completely average, such as myself. Have them do the events so that we can compare. Because when everyone's, like, apparently speed skating, it looked like they're all going slow, but it's probably just because they're all going really fast. So I would love to see, like, comparatively, like, not where do I stack up. Actually, yeah, that can be, like, an additional, like, for an extra charge a month, you can get, like, the premium version of whatever we're trying to develop here, and then you can input your, like, your own data, and then it'll do, like, how you would perform in that task. But I just want to see, like, baseline average, roughly average, like, performance of speed skating up against the Olympic skaters. Because I have to be honest, for the Olympics, I wasn't that impressed. Of course, I'm on the couch, like, eating snacks, like, screaming at the people to go faster, but, like, so I'm not saying I'm good. Like, I couldn't do it. So I'm not blaming them, but it's like, I know how hard you worked to get here. I know how many, like, birthday parties you missed, how many family functions you couldn't go to because you've been, on the ice since before you could walk. But then, like, why are you falling, I think I said this last week. And I get, you're having an off day, nerves, but, like, you're going to be a professional Olympic skater and you're going to fall? I'm obviously kidding. It is a very admirable thing to be that dedicated to something. And honestly, I just get sad when people do bad. But then I also don't know if they are doing bad. Like, again, I need context. We need Olympic context. Anyway, I have to go to the restroom, so I'm going to go. I hope everybody has such a good day, such a good week, such a good end of March. If you like what you heard, you can go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. I think that's the website. On there, you can find links to everything, our Apple, our Spotify, Google Podcast, such and such and such. If you've taken the time to listen to this, I really do appreciate it. I will talk to you next week. Goodbye.